So with this new Rockstar, it's got a slightly higher RG than the Optimum Idle, but a little bit less differential as well, right? So this ball is gonna be a little bit weaker on the core side of things with the Optimum Idle, but the cover stock I think is a little bit stronger, right? So I think this is meant for the ball to pick up a little earlier and not be so violent down lane, a little bit more tame than the Optimum Idle, right? This ball is meant for medium to heavy oil conditions. You know, when it comes out of the box, it comes pretty dull. So as you can see me here on the left, I'm warming up with the ball. You know, the first few shots, I'm just going real slow, just making sure the ball comes off my hand, and I'm staying to the right. You know, I'm trying to aim for second arrow or slightly right of second arrow, and if I miss the head pin to the right, that's fine. I find a lot of people make the mistake of trying to get lined up right away when you're warming up. For me, personally, I like to stay a little bit further right than where I think I'm gonna play, and I'm gonna save that head oil for when I'm actually bowling for score, right? So I'm doing the exact same thing here. It's just habit. I'm just warming up for a ball review, but as you can see, I'm just staying right, too far to the right. I'm second arrow or I'm right of second arrow. As you can see, the ball, I'm not gonna get a strike, right? It's either gonna miss the headband to the right, or if I slow down, right, if I throw it too slow, it goes through the face, right? It's just not the right part of the lane to play, but I'm trying to save my own head oil for later when it matters. Just something I noticed the last few weeks in tournament and league where people they warm up where they want to line up and try and get strikes right away, but you got 15 minutes of practice. So to me, I like to stay a little further right and just warm up, you know, keep the head oil for me. As you can see, as I get warmed up here, I throw it better and better. And the last shot, I move 3 boards to the left and try and hit just left of that second arrow. And you can see I carried a 4-9. So now we're getting close to where I'm gonna be lined up. Let's start this ball review. We got a symmetrical solid, a brand new one from Roto Grip. We got the GOAT, we got the Phaze 2, and then we got the other benchmark piece that I really love, the Ion Pro. It's an asymmetrical hybrid, but it's on the weaker side of things. And the asymmetry gives it a little bit of more drilling options, right? You can go pin down, you can go pin up, and it's gonna affect the ball way more than a symmetrical, right? So let's throw these 3. We got the house shot here, and we're gonna see how they look. We just finished warming up. I was trying to hit second arrow or just right of it in warm up, like I said. So we're gonna bump a couple more left of my last shot in warm up. And hopefully that gives us the right line to the pocket here. We're just bowling on a house shot. It's 42 feet. I think it's like 7-1 or 8-1. So a little on the easier side. And I think that's where these balls are gonna do the best, right? Fresh house conditions. It gives you some error room, and you gotta maximize on that error room. Got the Rockstar here. I'm gonna aim 13 at the arrows. I'm gonna stand on 19 here. Yeah, that was a pretty good guess. Hit 13 at the arrows, high flush. Was able to get out the 4-9 that I left the previous shot by moving a couple left. Let's go 2 more to the left. I think that'll be the sweet spot on this house condition with, you know, like a benchmark type ball. Okay, I'm over to 21. And I'm gonna aim at 14 at the arrows. And because we warmed up further to the right, all the oil in the middle of the lane here is nice and fresh for us. Yeah, pretty good shot. Missed a hair to the right, but you know, house condition. Miss a little right, it's gonna come back. The whole point is maximizing your miss room on a house condition. It gives you the room, you gotta be able to use a ball that hits it. Okay, same shot. Yeah, I think this ball is absolutely perfect right now. You know, typical house shot, fresh oil, symmetrical solid with a little bit of surface. You know, I'm gonna shoot really big scores if I bowl for score right now. Okay, 1 more, and then we'll move on to the other 2. Ooh, I missed a little inside there at the arrows and left a 9-pin, right? But house condition, you're still gonna hit the pocket. You got a couple boards each way, I feel like, if you release it well. Rockstar so far, just as advertised. Early, controllable, you know, good for fresh conditions. All right, now let's move over to the Ion Pro. I think it's gonna be a little bit stronger down lane just because it's asymmetric a little bit and it's a hybrid. Let's find out, right? That's what these are for. Okay, we got the Ion Pro. Pin's in the same spot right above the bridge of my fingers. It's 5 1/4 inch pin for me. And that's a sweet spot for my pin, I feel like. So let's just throw the same shot here. Let's see the reaction. I missed a hair right with the last one. Didn't quite make it back up the hill, but it still hit the pocket. We left kind of like a Swisher 10. This ball is a little bit smoother than I thought it would be compared to the Rockstar. I thought we'd have more back end with this one, but let's keep throwing it. Absolute bonate, absolute bonate. Wow. That was pretty cool, actually. A part of me thought that a fresh Rockstar with a lot of surface would be earlier and smoother, and the Ion Pro would have a little more down lane, but they're pretty similar. I feel like the Ion Pro goes a little further down lane than the Rockstar though, but just as smooth off the back end. All right, one more with the Ion Pro, same line. Let's see if we can get all 10 with this ball. I think the Ion Pro goes a little further down lane than the Rockstar. The Rockstar was picking up a little earlier, going through the pins a little bit better on a fresher house condition. So if the lanes were like a little bit drier, maybe in game 2 or 3, then I'd switch to the Ion Pro. But yeah, very similar though, very similar. All right, we're moving on to the GOAT, the Phaze 2. You know, if you're doing a benchmark video, you gotta throw the Phaze 2. If you're not on staff with anyone, you gotta have a purple hammer, you gotta have a Phaze 2. No doubt about it. Same line, I feel like this ball's gonna hook. I don't know why. I feel like it's gonna out-hook these other two balls. Couple boards more hook. I missed my line to the right a little bit. We were high in the pocket. Phaze 2, same line. Let's hit our target this time though. The Phaze 2 is a little bit more ball. Carrying 4 pins with it on the same line. So let's bump 2 to the left with the Phaze 2. Should be money. Okay, 2 to the left, 1 with my eyes. Should be money here with the Phaze 2. So a little bit more teeth with the Phaze 2, right? All these balls are pretty fresh. A couple tournament games on the Phaze 2 and the Ion Pro, but brought it back to box just before the video today. Yeah, we got a little bit more teeth on the Phaze 2. The Ion Pro goes a little further down lane, and the Rockstar is a little earlier and a little less. Question time with Jungo, all right? This is a good one. How do you feel about names being reused on new balls from 25, 30 years ago, right? The Rockstar, you know, that was a bowling ball from Columbia 300 in the year 2000. I remember it. I was 10 years old. So we know Brunswick has done a lot of reusing names from the past. How do you feel about that? Do you want new names? Do you care if they use old names and new balls? Or do you like a numbering system that tells you the strength of the ball and where it's supposed to be used? You know, back in the day, Track did a numbering system with a letter. You know, I like that. You can just immediately tell where this ball fits, what it's supposed to do, and there's no questions about it. But now we have to look at the specs. We gotta see how strong the cover is. We gotta see how strong the core is. We gotta test it on the lane to see where it's supposed to fit against other balls. But if there was just a numbering system, you know, like Track had back in the day, I think that would be a lot easier for people. But the names, you know, they're getting creative, right? But let me know down in the comments what you think and what you feel about it. All right, we've established what these 3 balls do against each other. All very similar balls in terms of like amount of boards covered, just slightly different in terms of shape. Let's move a little bit left. Let's get into the pattern a little bit, and we'll slow some ball speed down and we'll see how they look, slow hooking it a little bit. You know, I think the Ion Pro is probably gonna look the best when I keep moving left, just because it does get down the lane a little bit easier, has a little bit more finish at the back end when I slow it down. So let's give it a try. Let's move 5 left. Okay, we're now standing on 26, and I'm looking at 17 at the arrows here. And we're just gonna slow the ball speed down a touch and see if these balls, how they react against each other. Okay, we can make the Rockstar curve. Man, these strikes are getting lucky. Slow the ball speed down a hair. You know, that Rockstar curves. That is very surprising. I like it a lot. Okay, let's go 2 more. We're now standing on 28. All right, not bad. Missed my target a little to the right there. Almost made it back up the hill. So let's throw 1 more. Let's hit my target. Let's see how this ball rounds the corner. All right, not bad, right? Better than I thought it was gonna be, honestly. You know, slow the ball speed down. It does round the corner pretty well. You know, I thought it would be more flatter than it is. As you can see, that last shot there almost gets there. We're just a little late, we're just a little lazy. Left plaque to 10, got lucky, carried. But let's throw the Ion Pro. Same lineup as the last shot, Ion Pro. Yeah, just a little cleaner and a little more down lane than the Rockstar. So as you move left and you slow hook it, I think the Ion Pro is gonna look a little better than the Rockstar. But when you're playing a little further right, I think the Rockstar is gonna look better for sure. Really good from a little further left. Okay, phase 2. Go. That ball's good from anywhere. Again, this is a house shot. You know, the balls are gonna shape pretty good at the back end. We're just looking for the ball that gives us the most room for error on the house condition, right? So for example, if I were to use an asymmetrical pearl on this, right, it's gonna be really sharp off the back end. Probably won't have as much room for error. My window is gonna be much smaller with a shiny ball that hooks a lot in the back end. So these early rolling, smooth, predictable, symmetrical solids / benchmark balls, these are the way to go on a house shot, especially on the fresh. Oh yeah, a little miss to the right with the phase 2, no problem. Okay, we've kind of figured out where this ball fits in the bag. It's got a little bit less hook than the phase 2. It's a little earlier than the Ion Pro, right? So if I'm traveling a tournament or I'm going to league and we're on a medium-ish condition, it's gonna come with me, right? It just gives me another option on like a 42 to 39 foot pattern. Any length house shot, this is probably gonna look pretty good, right? So let's throw a couple more here with the Rockstar and we'll send it home. Okay, let's move another 4 left and we'll play 2 far left for the pattern. House shots, baby. Well, you can see how well that ball shapes. That's all you need. You need a well-shaping ball on a house condition. You have the whole right side of the lane if you match up properly, right? This Rockstar just matches up on the house shot perfectly here. Right, we struck a few times at 13 at the arrows. Now we're at 20. We just altered our ball speed and we're good to go. If you like playing a little further right, this ball will work. If you like playing a little further left, this ball will work. Yeah, so that one was a little left of the previous, still high flush, right? You want to bowl big scores on house patterns, you got to match it up. I like the way this ball looks going down the lane too. It's dark red, black, maroon kind of color, you know. It all blends together really nice, rotating. Yeah, absolutely perfect. Okay, let's wrap it up. So let's get right into the ratings of this ball, in my opinion. So strength rating, you know, Storm says this ball is made for medium to heavy oil, and I totally agree, right? It comes out of the box with fur on it. It's pretty dull. So that's why it was warming up kind of nice and slow up the right. I just wanted to get some oil on the ball as I warmed up and stay to the right of where I was actually gonna bowl. And I didn't wipe my ball off, you know, while I was warming up for those 7 to 10 shots. So as we know, with a brand new ball that comes out with a lot of surface, you know, the first shot just hooks off the lane, right? So you got to get that ball with a little bit of oil on it, stabilize that cover stock so we have a nice consistent reaction. And I feel like that takes about 7 to 10 shots without wiping it, and then we're good to go. So strength rating for me is going to be a 6.5. It's definitely not going to be as strong as those asymmetrical solids and pearls, right? Like the Origin or the Harsh Reality or the Harsh Reality Pearl. Definitely not as strong as those balls, but this ball can handle oil, right? It's for the fresh, you know, and the strength of this ball is like early. It reads pretty early, you know, it's got pretty decent continuation down lane, but I think the teeth of this ball is early read. It gives you that control. Then response time, right? How fast does this ball change direction when it encounters the dry? I'm gonna give it a 4. You know, it's pretty smooth, like really smooth. I was bowling on an absolute fresh condition, just dressed about 20 minutes ago. Nobody else was bowling on but me. And you can see how easy this ball controlled the break point, controlled the shape down lane. I was able to strike from 13 at the arrows all the way to 20, just depending on how you throw it, how you roll it, your ball speed, your rev rate, you know. It's a very versatile bowling ball for the fresh condition, especially on this house shot here. Next up, we got shelf appeal. How does this ball look on the shelf in the shop? I'm gonna give it a solid 6. Dark red, maroon, black, pretty dull out of the box. And I feel like most tournament bowlers, most high-end league bowlers are gonna like this ball because of that. You know, not that many people like seeing the revolutions of their ball going down lane. Seems to be a strong consensus around here, especially with the top bowlers. So I think for those bowlers, they're really gonna like this kind of ball. But for a bowler who, you know, is just getting started, you know, likes to see the colors spin, likes to see the white, the yellow, they're not gonna really like the look of this ball, I don't think, too much. So we're going with 6, shelf appeal. Final thoughts, this ball is really good for fresh conditions. right? You can see it compared to the other benchmarks I have, the Ion Pro, the Phaze 2, it just fits right in there, right? It's a little bit different as it's a little earlier and a little less sharp off the back end. But as I moved left, it was very surprising how much this ball turned the corner and continued through the pins, right? I thought it was gonna be really and flat, but no, this ball continued through the pins really well. And I was very surprised and very pleased about that. I can stick with this ball throughout the league session, just keep moving my feet left, and it should still keep hooking. With my testing today, I feel like the Phaze 2 is still a little bit stronger, maybe a couple boards, and the Ion Pro is a little cleaner through the heads, right? It gets down lane a little easier than the Rockstar here, but all three are very similar in terms of hook potential. The shapes is where the difference is at, right? So as soon as the Rockstar starts to leave some 10 pins, I think I'm just gonna go right to the Ion Pro, something like that. And then to the Phaze AI, kind of my progression on this house shot here, or if we're bowling a tournament, you know, and there's more games than 3 than league, then definitely after the Rockstar is the Ion Pro, and then the Phaze AI, something like that, some sort of progression along those lines. So Optimum Idle from Roto Grip discontinued. Rockstar, that's filling its place. I feel like the Optimum Idle was a little more off the back end, like sometimes it was more than I expected off the back end, especially when I got a little oil on the ball. So I think that's why they're replacing it with the Rockstar here. Something a little bit more controllable down lane when this ball gets a little oil on it. We'll see how it goes. Roto Grip symmetrical solids have always been super popular, super good bowling balls. So I'm excited to bowl with this one in leagues and tournaments. Thanks for watching. See you in the next vid, everyone.